Welcome to the next video of passive income. So hopefully by now you've fiddled with the vending machines or storage areas and set something up, starting to get a little bit of passive income. So this one is going to be a little different. This one changed everything for me, not just in a matter of how much money I made, but the mindset I had afterward. Because this one taught me the keys that you need to actually give and to get more back. And this helped my profits grow tremendously in more than just this passive income, but everything I do pretty much. So what HipCamp is it's an app on your phone. Now, I learned about this from a coworker. I was struggling with the 9-to-5. I was desperate to do anything to get out of it. And I was trying all these little niches and they weren't working. So my coworker one day said, "Hey, have you ever heard of HipCamp? You can rent out your backyard for people to come and camp in." Now, I thought this was an interesting idea. I didn't think it would actually work. I said, who would want to camp in someone's backyard? But regardless, I downloaded the app and I tried it out. So you'll see my rest of the video, how it worked out for me, how I expanded, and how it was more than what I thought. Because the more I gave, the more I got out of this passive income. So this one was called HipCamp. It's an app on your phone where essentially you rent out your backyard to people to come camp. Now, when I first did this, I did not know what to suspect. As you can see, we have kind of an interesting location with a pond right in the heart of Poway, which is a kind of a city area. So we already had a good location. So I took some pictures of the yard and posted it on the app. Didn't know what to suspect. And then I had our first people show up and they asked, "Well, where's the campsite?" And I just said, "The backyard." And they had a great time. And then the next weekend I got more bookings and it just expanded after that. So I'll give you a quick tour of all the places I had campsites at, show you what I did to give back, and show how fast it grew. With HipCamp, what I quickly figured out after we had our first rental is, well, I didn't really have any actual bathrooms for them. They were using the ones in the house, but that wasn't good enough. So for the next weekend, I made sure to go and order a porta potty. Now this cost $155 for the month, which wasn't bad because it comes with 4 cleanings. But I mean, you're coming here to appreciate the outdoors and enjoy your experience, and you're going to the bathroom in a hot box. So I want to make something better for them. So I built an outdoor shower, runs on city water, and then I gave them 2 flushing toilets. And of course, to save water, I actually did use pond water on these 2. And of course, we have an outdoor sink as well that runs on city water. Just a better experience altogether. So the best part about this was every campsite had a direct access and overlooked the pond. This was our first one we did. I called it Campsite 1. Stuck a little picture of a fish here. As you can see, it was a big dugout area shaded by the ukes. A lot of people like this one for tent camping. It worked out great. And then over in this area, I added a bunch of hammocks, tire swings. I even got a little ambitious and I went and added a zip line. And I went over the pond and went by the ukes. So that was 2 of our sites and a few things we added. I'll continue giving you guys a tour of everything that we did. So this was right on the side of Campsite 2. You probably recognize this from the storage video. This is the sea container. So I painted white, gave them a whole bunch of paint and brushes, and let everybody that came leave their mark on Taylor Pond. So as you can see, over time, I started to gather a lot of signatures. And honestly, every one of them, I kept telling them, I'm building a collection here. I also added rock climbing holds to the wall. So it'd be a little bouldering wall for the kids. You know, anything to keep them entertained. Give them a little something else to do. So this is where Campsite 3 used to be. It was right by the back fence and some eucalyptus. Again, a nice little shady spot that overlooked the pond. So you can see now that finding camp spots was not really hard here, but you could do it anywhere as long as you have some land or even some trails. Like here, I had some trails out the back fence that goes up into the mountains in the back of the property. So people really did like this. And you know, besides the camping, there was other things you could add on. Like I was selling people bundles of firewood for like $10. I would give them guided hikes around the area. What else did I have? Oh, a good one was I had a camper van that I converted. I'll show you that in another passive income. But that I would add on to their campsite for another $40 a night. So everything really started to add up quick. So you can see this passive income stream, it can almost become its own thing. You don't need to do others. Sadly for me on this one, we had someone walking their dog on the back fence. They took pictures of the campsites and turned us into the city. So sadly in Poway, you are not allowed to camp in a residential area of any kind. So if you want to do this, maybe look into the ordinance, see if your area is zoned for it. And that'd be the first thing to start, I guess. Some of these ideas, I didn't even think about doing at first. So I added an archery range when one of the campers messaged me and told me her son had a bow and arrow he wanted to use. So I decided to clean out this little embankment here and set up some straw bales. And afterward, I invested in some bows myself and every camper loved it. Honestly, it added to everything. Well, everything was going great with the hip camp and all the campers were more than happy with what I gave them. I wanted to go a little further and make their experience even better. So I created this, which is the game room. So let me give you a quick tour. So here's a quick look into the game room I added. So I added a Plinko machine, Pandora box, a little organ, some old school arcade games, pool table, fridge for them to store their food because when you're camping, you know, it's hard to keep things fresh. And then of course, a little area for cooking. I added some board games as well. And everybody really appreciated it. I added this little book so people could leave a mark here. And look at this. They made me into a cartoon character. But besides that, they would leave thank you notes, sign it. I mean, this book is pretty thick and it is already packed. So I gave back and they gave me more than I expected. So Hip Camp was the first passive income stream that I started that I actually felt like I could give back to people. And it kind of changed my point of view on things. Like before, when I was working my 9 to 5, I'd have to work harder, put in more hours, and maybe I'd get more pay. Here, if I just gave back to them more, built things for them, made a better experience for them, I would get more bookings, I would get more return customers, and of course that increased the revenue, but it increased everything else. Like my way of looking at life was completely different after that. I mean, sometimes I would be hanging out in the hammock just watching everybody play around the yard. They'd be doing like canoe and kayak tag, all kinds of stuff. And I really appreciated everything. And it was pretty awesome.